Alright, yet another video from the World Economic Forum, which got ratioed to high heaven. And I wonder why that is. Now, the video is called 5 Ways the Pandemic Could Reshape Our Lives in the Long Term. And the reason why I suppose most people don't like it is because it doesn't seem that this is what people desire. It doesn't seem that this is the natural way the world is going. It seems more like the people at the World Economic Forum, the billionaires, are using their influence and their money to push for NGOs, activist groups, and journalists, as well as politicians, to create an artificial consent in order to push for change. And the change is not what the people want, but it's what the billionaires want. Like, for example, how many people on the street do you think would be comfortable with heartbeat tracing? I'm not even kidding. It's like one of the things that they say here. It's like they're going to have cameras with infrared that's going to go all around the cities, and people are going to be traced based on their heartbeat. Right? Like, how many people genuinely want that? And you make the claim that these are free nations run on democracy. How is it democratic if people don't want it, but it's being pushed anyway? By manufacturing consent. And I think like this is why the World Economic Forum keeps getting ratioed, because they don't care what the people think. They're not doing this grassroots. It's like, all right, let's see how many people want a future and then push for it. No. It's like, let's see who among us billionaires want the future and then push for it. I love how disconnected the World Economic Forum is from the average people. Because they're trying to make a wholesome video here. They're having this upbeat music. They're basically trying to say, hey, you know, things are bad now, but like, look how great things are going to be in the future. Like, let's look at the positive side. And I'm looking at the positive side that in the future, people still wear face masks. Like, the face diaper is still going to be there. Now, the question is, and this is something that I would legitimately want to ask the World Economic Forum. I understand that they care a lot about the environment. In fact, they care about the environment way more than the average Joe does. So, how do they plan on disposing all of these face masks, which have microplastics in them? And in 1 year alone, you have 1 trillion of these things. Like, they are a massive, massive pollution problem. And the World Economic Forum seems that even in the long future, they're not planning to address this issue. Like, in their vision, people will still wear them. And, you know, like, there are places in California, for example, where they wanted to ban plastic straws, but they forced people to wear the masks with the microplastics. So how exactly are you saving Mother Gaia? What is the plan here? How are you going to help Captain Planet? How are you going to help Planetina save the environment, huh? And that's just, like, one question. Now, the other problem about working from home. Now, it's kind of funny because I loved having this argument with a friend of mine who every time I was having a disagreement, instead of talking like a normal person, he would bombard me with studies. It's like, hey, look, here's a study. Study shows, research claims, experts. And he would just like throw Google studies at me, you know? And I was saying, it's like, look, I know you as a human being. I know you as a person. Probably know you better than your mom because you're my friend. And you will not be able to work from home. Like, working from home is something that I do, and I know that it requires a strict schedule. It needs a lot of self-control, like to force yourself not to stay up during the middle of the night, because then it's going to completely ruin your next day, your work schedule, right? You need to have absolute quiet. Like, you can't work from home. You got a kid at home. What are you thinking? Okay, you got a nagging wife. You got a kid. How are you going? And it's like, no, look, study shows, people are happy working from home. It's like, okay, fine. And then I saw him on Facebook was saying, it's like, hey, look, here's an article showing that 70% of the people who work from home have suffered burnout. And, you know, like, it's so difficult working from home. And, of course, I reminded him about it. And I think, like, that was the point that broke our friendship, because then I got blocked. But here's the thing, you know, like, the studies, the research, the studies, they didn't take into account working from home forever. They took into account working from home for like 6 months. And yeah, like, people were happy during the first 6 months. But when the home and the office becomes one and the same, a lot of people are going to associate home with working. It's pretty much like if you have a favorite song that you really love listen to, if you put that on your alarm clock, you're going to end up despising the song. Why do you think that is? And it's really the same why some people don't like working from home. And this is besides the distraction and besides everything. And as a plus, it ends up with people just staying at home for days on end because they don't even feel the need going outside, like even less exercise than the one they did before. And yeah, like a lot of people are suffering from depression because of this. It's not nice to work from home. Now, some people, like myself, enjoy working from home. Other people don't. How about, you give people the choice? Like if it's a job that can allow people to work from home, yeah, as long as the person from home manages to go through all the deadlines, sure. But I'm telling you this, the HR people are going to be having a nightmare. Like the people that like to micromanage everything, they're going to freak the fuck out because they're going to realize, oh shit, if everyone works from home, maybe the executive, the CEO, is going to realize that I'm a useless parasite and I don't really belong in this company. Like the job can happen without me. So it's going to be in their best interest to get people to work from the office. And on top of that, you also have rich people that like flipping houses. They buy cheap and they sell high. And they do this with office buildings. So it's an entire industry where people make money with office buildings being bought and sold. And, these are very wealthy and influential people. So I think they're going to pressure and they're going to lobby as much as possible in order to convince everyone to go back to work. And yeah, I think like the World Economic Forum didn't take this into account. I definitely don't see it as a future where people are going to work from home. This is definitely not going to happen. Maybe in some very niche professions, maybe in some very small companies, like people are going to be allowed. But overwhelmingly, eventually, everyone is going to get the fuck back to work. Trust me on this one. Oh my god, that sounds so awesome. Oh, I can hardly wait to get into that future where it's going to be exactly as it is now. I mean, in case if you don't know, I live in Romania, alright? So I don't consider it like the best and most developed nation in the world. However, even here in my city, which again isn't like one of the Romania's top cities, not like Cluj or Bucharest or anything. No. It's like a medium-sized city, I would say. I can just walk out of my house 15 minutes and I can go to a bar, a gym, or any of the other things that I talked about. So why exactly is this something we need to look up for in the future? It was always here. And since the shutdown, since the government said, hey, you guys are not essential, like some of these things went bankrupt, but I'm pretty sure they're going to open again. Although the only thing that I would have to say is networking. So networking is very interesting. It used to be the job of the churches to help with networking. A lot of people used to find jobs by going to church. Like they would ask the other churchgoers, it's like, hey, like my son is unemployed. Did you happen to have something? It's like, oh yeah, I know a guy that knows a guy. And, yeah, he can get your son a job. But now, ever since people are becoming less religious, I guess the networking is out. Although I would have to say, like, I don't think going to a bar helps with networking. I don't think, like, in the Me Too era, going to a gym and sparking a conversation with a member of the opposite sex leads to networking. That leads to a harassment lawsuit. So, yeah, I don't really know why exactly they brought this point here because it's already existing. It's not something that I need to look up for in the future. How they framed it. It's like exploded in popularity. That's like saying if you ban people to go to the toilet, your old PV is going to explode in popularity. Pissing on the streets is going to explode in popularity if people can't piss in the toilet. No fucking shit. If you're going to lock down all of the bars, people are going to start ordering food. Yeah, it exploded in popularity just organically. This is like all of a sudden, people realize it's so great. Here's the thing, they already existed. Like, even before the pandemic, the concept of ordering food online was already there. Now, what's even scarier about it is the centralization. Like, the World Economic Forum is saying, like, all these brands can centralize. Like, you can have, like, one app that overtakes all the brands. Yeah, I'm looking forward for that. Yet another online website that collects information about the users. I can hardly wait to have my livelihood being monetized by another corporation. And then, they realize, hey, my private company can do whatever it wants, right? Which means that, you had some edgy jokes on Twitter. You had some political opinions on Facebook. We're going to ban you from our service now. No food for bigots. Let the bigots starve, huh? Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. Oh wow, like what a brand new future that I'm looking forward to. And while this is happening, right, all of the other restaurants and all of the other places, like the cafes and places where people would go to, are going to shut down. That's going to do wonders for the dating life, right? If you're a teenager, you want to take a pretty señorita out for a date, well, everything is closed now. Everything is closed. Like, you have to invite her to your own home, huh? Another harassment in the making. Another harassment lawsuit right there and there. Seriously. Do they think like people are so dumb and they just don't notice how they're trying to hide one thing? It's like, oh yes, let's not say that all the restaurants are shutting down. You're going to walk on the street and you're going to see nothing but banks. Like, no. Like, let's not talk about that. Hey, you can order food from home. Like, I know you could do that before, but there's probably going to be one or two apps that get to stay on Apple and Google, which are going to deliver you a range of brands. So you don't have the individual brand that you can reach. No, it's going to be a range of brands under the umbrella of one or two apps. Great. So now the brands, they have to play to the music of that one or two companies, which might say, hey, why don't you have another woke commercial so we can put you on the top shelf? Why don't you farm that ESG score a little bit more? Because the World Economic Forum really loves the ESG. So if you're a brand and you want to sell your food to the people, have a high ESG score. Become more woke just a little bit so it can put you on the top shelves. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. Looking at the trend of how things are happening now on the internet, I'm definitely sure that in the future that's not going to take place.
I can't even conceive a visual of what you police officers did before it was developed.
We work for a living. This fascist crap makes me want to puke.
Here at the Economic Forum, we care about your safety, which is why we're going to fire a laser into your heart on a daily basis. And we just don't understand why people dislike our video. Honestly, how the fuck did people do police work before this fascist shit? And how many people, if you were to put it to a vote or a referendum, would actually think this is a great idea? Yeah, we need to identify people. We need to identify them based on their heartbeat. Hey, let me know this, okay? If I take this little fucking device, this little laser, and I go into the government building and start doing this to the senators, do you think they would appreciate it? Do you think they would like it? Do you think they would enjoy if such a device was placed at the fucking door? For their safety, of course. No one would like it, right? Why do they think the people would like this crap? What is this, China? Apparently it is. I mean, why am I even criticizing China? I don't have a moral high horse I don't have the moral ground to stand on. The West doesn't seem to be any better. It's just a little bit more veiled at this point. It's just a little bit, lagging behind in the progressive timeline. But eventually it will get to where China is, where we have like social credit score and all that nonsense. Why on earth? Like, no, seriously, tell me the situation where you really need to identify a person by his heartbeat. Oh god. How many? And by the way, I'm really curious. Like, if you have this technology, if you implement it, and there's like cameras everywhere in the public space, and there's still a terrorist attack going on, there's still like a mass shooting going on, who's going to be responsible? Who's going to be fired for this? It's like, look, we gave you our rights for more safety and you failed to provide it. You are the person that proposed this shit. So now you are the person that needs to not only get fired, but never work again. Like, any idea that comes out of your mouth needs to be rebuked instantly. Like, it should be like the laser into the heart guy. Whenever you work, it's like, ha ha ha, the laser into the heart guy said another dumb shit. And the politicians that support it should also resign. It should be like the laser into the heart guy politician. That's how a normal society would treat these people. The moment, like, okay, you have a crazy idea, you have some bad shit insane thing that we need to give our liberties for, the right to privacy, we need to throw it away, fine. Let's have it your way. Let's have you do this. But if you fail, you're going to be held accountable. Just like an engineer is held accountable for building a bridge and then the bridge collapses. How about we do that to the ideologues? How about we call the ideologues from the academia all the way to the political advisors and the bureaucrats, to the politicians that support their ideas, accountable whenever one of their ideas ends up collapsing? And there you go, the ideologues. Like, I'm pretty sure the person who came up with this concept is probably someone from the academia that doesn't have kids. Probably a 40 to 50-year-old cat lady surrounded by cat piss. I am willing to put money on this. Because every single person that I know, not only from my real life, but also from the internet, that had children during the pandemic, they were horrified about the idea of learning from home. Not only were their kids doing worse in school and they were taking bad grades and cheating was rampant during any exam, but it was also the fact that their kids were a little bit more depressed. There were a couple of suicides that happened, believe it or not. It's in the press. You can look it up. And I genuinely don't understand. It's like, oh, well, they can also learn from home. Yeah, sure. Like, in your free time, you can Google stuff. You can Google how furniture is made and how electricity works. Like, you don't need school to impose that. You could have done that before the pandemic. And honestly, I genuinely don't know any benefit. Like, not whatsoever. And that's why they don't elaborate. Like, they don't tell you what the benefits are because there aren't any. The only benefits that can be is like, yeah, again, like if some kid like wants to do some research by himself and look at a subject, I don't know, like how to raise kittens, you can go on my channel and find that out. But other than that, like, no, like every single parent that I know absolutely despised homeschooling. Like, not a single positive thing was said about homeschooling. So yeah, I mean, there's that. I don't know why people dislike this video. It's brilliant, just exciting video about a future that I can hardly wait to live in. I mean, wow, the time we live in now is so bad, but like watching this is like watching Star Trek. It's a future that you want to take part in. Let me know how you guys feel about this, of course, and I'll see you in the comments section. And I hope you're going to have a good time. And by the way, I'm live streaming right after this. So if you're watching this live, I'll catch you later on my live stream channel. Take care.